What's up, YouTube? This is Josh from Team Revelation. I got Adam here. We're actually at a resort right now. Woohoo! So we're just chilling out. I figured we'd make you guys a video. This is an Inzektor deck that I took to a locals last week, and I won. I was undefeated. It was pretty cool. So yeah, here it is. You got your standard engine here. We got the 3 centipede. That's sort of, I think personally, in my opinion, this is like the best card in the deck. I know that Hornet and Dragonfly are obviously a huge part of him, but I think that the deck wouldn't run as smoothly without him. So yeah, you gotta be able to add to hand. 3 Ladybug, that again is pretty standard, and I think pretty much would be running any deck. That's just so you can overlay for your 5s and stuff, because this ups the levels of the like centipedes and the Dragonfly and such like that. We got 1 Hornet because he's so good. He just blows everything up, and pretty much as soon as I get this card to grave, everybody wants to quit playing because they get annoyed. 1 Dragonfly because you can only run 1, and obviously same with Hornet. You would obviously run 3 of each of those, but you can't. You only have 1 of each, and 1 of each is not that bad actually with the other support cards that are in here. 1 Gigamantis because he's just so good. I've won so many games with him just because of I can search him with Centipede. And what's really neat is if you read these cards carefully, you'll notice that the effect of equipping the Inzektor from the grave is actually the effect of the card that's on the field. Okay, so like if I equip Hornet to my Dragonfly and then send, it's actually Dragonfly's effect to do the initial equipping. What's really cool about Gigamantis is if you search him out and put him in your hand, you can actually equip from hand. So what I'm saying here is, let's say you have this, you open up and you summon your Dragonfly, right? And then you say you take your Hornet, you equip your Hornet to your Dragonfly. You then send your Hornet to grave to blow up something they have, either a monster, face down, whatever. You special summon from your deck this Centipede, okay? So then you Hornet again, blow something else up of theirs. Then you can add this to hand. And if you obviously if you had normal that turn, then you would add another Centipede. You would normal that Centipede. You'd blow something else up. Then you would add something to your hand. And then in this case, it'd be something that would be a good idea, would be this Mantis, because then even though you've already equipped Hornet to this one that turn, you can then drop this Mantis, and then your Dragonfly becomes a 24 beat. So that's good because you want to protect your Dragonfly. It's like you need it really to play really well, so you want to be able to protect that, and that's definitely a really good way of doing that. The 1 Hopper, just to keep up consistency, because this deck, especially with the Centipede, searches a lot, sends a lot. So the 1 Hopper is really good to just keep it consistent. And he's 1700, and also you can equip and send in order to allow an Inzektor monster to attack directly. Could be good depending on certain game situations. This is a little bit of sort of different. I have 2 Tomato in here. And this is actually really good because I draw into Tomato so much early in the game. It happens. I draw into my Tomato usually much more than I draw into my Dragonfly, and this gets my Dragonfly out. So I can either set him and hope they run him over not knowing what it is, or even if they do, hope they just run it over, and then I can special the Dragonfly and just go off next turn. Or depending on game situation, I can special the other one and just sit on that for a little while. Oftentimes I'll attack into their monster and take whatever damage and send him, just so it'll set my plays up so I can start doing what I do. Another part that works really well with those Tomatoes is this Armageddon Knight, because Tomato can also bring out Armageddon Knight, and when Armageddon Knight's special or normal summon period, you can send 1 dark monster from your deck to your grave. So usually I do that with Hornet. It's a good like immediate set myself up, and that gets destroyed, he gets specialed, Hornet to grave, and then I already, I'm set to start going off as soon as I get into my Dragonfly, stuff like that. So it's works really well. And then 1 Dad, just because Dad's such a boss monster, and he's, I don't know, I don't think I'll ever stop running Dad if it's possible to run Dad and, you know, a deck that runs like all darks. So I have one Inzektor sword. A lot of people like running 2. I just like the 1. I guess it's kind of a preference thing. It was more of like there was other things I'd rather have in there. Also, what's really nice about this is it can be searched by Centipede as well. So along with all your Inzektor monsters, this itself, this equip can be sent, and it's also good because when it's plus 800, which is like pretty good, and then also when it's sent, it's a, I believe it is an add. Yeah, it's an Inzektor monster from grave to hand, so that's also really nice. It recycles. We got 3 duality because obviously you want to get into the cards you need. You want to get into your Centipede if you need your Centipede. You want to get into your Dragonfly if you need your Dragonfly, or your Hornet if you need your Hornet. So obviously that's just for consistency, keep everything flowing nicely. We got 3 MST. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's just what I feel is needed for this deck. Because you want to be able to, when you are going for, you know, blowing stuff up, Hornet blows quite a bit up, but if they bottomless your Centipede, it's like your worst nightmare. Or if they warning it or anything like that, and they just slow you down long enough to where they can beat you, it can be quite a pain. So definitely 3 MST to sort of help clear the field some. And then again, this goes along in that same category, these double lances. Rarely I do use them to like protect a Dragonfly or something like that, like if they're trying to run it over and I flip this and then, you know, whatever, it stops my Dragonfly from being run over. I rarely use it for that, but obviously the main use is to protect the Dragonfly, the Centipede, etc. from being bottomless or anything like that. Or Mirror Force, you know, all the above. One Allure of Darkness, again, for draw power, so you can draw into what you need. You know, it's great with Dad. Say if you draw Dad late game, but you have Allure, it's great because, you know, you got countless darks in grave. There's no way you're going to be able to get Dad off. Fine, you get to draw 2 cards and you get rid of the useless Dad in your hand, so that works out nicely. 1 Foolish Burial. I use Foolish for a number of things. Obviously, if I draw it soon, the first card I want in my grave is my Hornet. As soon as I possibly can get Hornet in grave, I want Hornet in grave. So obviously I use it for that. I'll use it for Ladybug as well too, if I don't already have a Ladybug in grave, so then I could start putting Ladybug and, you know, start doing the level change to do the overlaying. And also I will toss Gigamantis in grave at times depending on game situation too. Dark Hole, because it's Dark Hole, and it's fantastic when you rip that off the top of your deck and just drop that on, you know, someone who's swarmed or, you know, whatever. 3 calls. Call the Haunted is so good in this deck because, you know, they Mirror Force, they torrential, anything that just blows your stuff up, countless things, and you can get it back. So you call the Haunted your Dragonfly, and then you just start going off all over again. You call the Haunted your Centipede, you start going off all over again. Call of the Haunted is like the best trap in this deck by far. Waboku, because I really like Waboku for just a number of reasons. I guess the biggest thing with Waboku that I really like is it's chainable. So I can just sit on it, and then when they MST it, okay, you know, they're trying to MST my Mirror Force or my Bottomless or my Warning or whatever, and it's a Waboku, so I just chain it. So for the rest of that turn, I can't take any battle damage. So it's very good. I run the 3 just so I make sure I can stay protected, because this deck definitely needs protection. Part of this too, Fiendish Chain, obviously that's a protection kind of thing, and if there's some kind of a annoying monster that's got some stupid effect that you really don't want to deal with, Chain's great for that. And also Chain's nice for say you want to be able to use Hornet because say you don't have Ladybug, or Ladybug's not the best play because you can't use Ladybug on your other monster or whatever. Say you have a upside down Fiendish Chain because it's just no good. You know, that's how we usually show that. We flip it up and say that monster gets like popped to hand or whatever. This isn't destroyed, so it's just kind of stays there, kind of like Call. It's sort of useless. And again with Call too, you can actually blow that up with Hornet to start your plays if you're, for some reason, your opponent's field is empty and you don't have a Ladybug or whatever. But you still want to get your searches and your special summons. 2D Prison, again, that's all protection. I like these 2 cards a lot. It does get around quite a bit, and it also does banish, and it's also nice because it's so good against so many decks, but there are certainly decks that not so much, decks that kind of want their cards banished, and they're great for side outs. Here's a little bit of a ha ha ha. I got 2 magic cylinders. I really like this card. I ran them in my hundreds. I usually try to put this in any deck. I like this so much because I don't expect it game 1 ever, pretty much. And I win so many games with this card that it's fantastic, especially with all the OTK decks that are going around now. I really, really do like this card. And it's also a great option to side out because they're not expecting it. Then you can pop it out for whatever else in your side that you need against whatever deck you're playing. The 1 warning, the 1 compulse, and the 1 bottomless, those are just kind of, you know, your 1 ounce. These are just your answers for stuff that's just sort of sucks. So you just want to be able to get around that. Alright, now we get into the extra. I have 1 number 49 Fortune Tune. He's so good in this deck because you pull him out so easily with all your level 3s, and also he will recycle your Centipede and your Dragonfly and such like that, and himself. So he's so good. I mean, I really, really like going into him. He's stall. He's great. Zen mains again for more stall in case he's, you know, you need to blow stuff up too while you stall or whatever. 1 mega equip because it helps protect your Dragonfly or anything else that you want to protect, but mainly your Dragonfly. Livier Sea Dragon, in case they banish your Hornet or they banish, say they bottomless your Centipede, and it's like your last one or whatever, you go into Livier play and start going off again. So he's kind of a must. Giga Brilliant, pretty much for like OTK. You know, you blow their field up with Hornet, they've got nothing left. You drop him and detach, and everybody gains 300, and you push for game. So he's very good. I like him a lot. We have the Livier just because, or the Leviathan, sorry, because it's Leviathan. That's pretty much for going for game 2 or just running something over. I have this is a really weird name. It's Chronomaly Crystal Chrononon or something like that. And this is a very good rank 3. It's generic and is really, really neat. It's sort of like Zen mains in the sense that it's stall. So he's good. It's basically he's hard to run over is kind of what it is. Acid Golem, he's Acid Golem. That's really, I only go into him and if I know I'm going to have game by going into him. Because otherwise he can be very, very dangerous, especially if they run like 10 tempo or anything like that and they rip away your materials, and then you can't special and you're stuck taking 2 grand every turn, and it can get pretty rough. So obviously he's dangerous, but still pretty good. Gaga Cowboy, because it's Cowboy, this is obviously for going for game. It's pretty difficult to go into level 4s with this deck. It doesn't happen often. You pretty much have your 2 tomatoes, your Armageddon Knight, that's 3, and then your 1 hopper. So you have 4 level 4s, so it's possible, but it's not very often. But I just like having him in there as an option in case I can pull it off and get game that way. Exostag, because he's really good. You just snatch cards that are a pain in the butt and equip them to him and gain it. So that's pretty sweet. We got this Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja. He's good because he protects himself pretty well. And these all rank 5s are basically just different options. We have the Shark Fortress, who is obviously just for going for game. Just want to do that attack. Number 16, Volcasaurus. Volcasaurus is really, really, really good. I've actually considered upping him to 2, but just haven't found something that was worth bumping yet, really. Maybe one of my rank 3s, but I don't know. He's so good. I have 1 Tyrus, and Tyrus is also really, really, really good. It runs over so many different things. It's great for stall. It blows stuff up. I mean, Tyrus is very good. And then of course the Gaia Charger. This card is amazing because you use all your materials on any of your rank 5s. Doesn't matter which one. You use up the materials. Your Tyrus loses materials because you got to detach every end phase. Or your Volcasaurus, you use them all up. Guess what? No problem. Drop him right on top of that, and now you have a 2600 beat stick that has piercing. So that's the main and the extra. Now I'm going to get into the side. This side, I really tried to just think about what this deck struggles with, where it's weak, and sort of make it stronger there, I guess. I mean, obviously, like, it's pretty much what you do with any side deck, but I just especially tried to do that with this one. 2 Maxi, because this deck really has draw power issues at times, and Maxi obviously is a very good card against many different decks that special quite a bit, so you draw into your plays more often. I don't honestly, I'm going to be honest, I don't really see a whole lot of people ever stop. I've never really seen somebody hold back from the specialing. So I don't know. I don't run Maxi to stop people from specialing because I just don't run into that. They just do it anyways and let you draw into whatever in hope that their going off, you know, works for them. But either way, obviously, Maxi accomplishes something. You either stop them because they don't want you to plus so much, or you plus. So I love it. Effect Veiler, I think he's becoming more and more good as this format goes on. And I usually like siding both in, the double Veiler and the double Maxi, and I usually take out the Tomatoes and Armageddon, and then one other card, depending. Sometimes Dad. It just kind of really depends. I try to keep Dad in the main. Just really depends on what they're playing, honestly. This deck really is weak against machine decks, especially the Karkuri OTK. I have a teammate, Dom, who plays that deck, and he plays it very well, and he beats this deck like constantly. So I have the 3 system downs in the side because that obviously helps even the playing field quite a bit between him and I. It's good against the Cyber Dragon deck too. The only thing I would say is that they do have their trap cyber network that lets them special their banished monsters anyways, so it's not like really good against them, but it still is pretty good. But I haven't really had an issue. I have played 3 different people actually with that deck, and I haven't lost yet to it. So far so good. And then I have 2 DNA Surgery. This card is good against a lot of things. Spellbooks is namely one of them. I'm sure there's plenty of other things you could think of, but it's DNA Surgery, it's good. Double Goes in Match, again, it's fairly standard. Double Rivalry, which also is pretty standard. But those 3, I'm using 2 of each just because it would leave room for the other options that I want, like the 2 Maxi and the 2 Veiler, and then the 3 system down. Because I really want to make sure I draw into system down, maybe even twice if I'm lucky. And then obviously Light Imprisoning Mirror, because of this deck definitely struggles against Constellars and such like that, and Light Imprisoning Mirror obviously does nothing to me. So that is the whole entire deck. I hope you guys like it. And in fact, this deck, sleeves included, everything that I just showed you of these cards, the main, the extra, the side, all of it is for sale on eBay. We're going to post a link in the description below. It comes with this nifty little deck box. So I actually spent some time adding up the whole entire value of everything, and it came to be about $410 and $420, somewhere in there. Give or take some for the fact that these cards, some of them aren't like brand new and in like absolute mint perfect condition, and some of them are just, you know, plain common. Some of them are pretty hollow though. I mean, I do have a good number of ultimates, a couple of ultimates here, and the main does have some hollowed out cards too. So it's $250 is what we're selling it for on eBay. So go check that out. Even if you're not really interested, go check it out. Just give it a look. Give us a like, obviously, on here, not on eBay. Unless you can like us on eBay, I don't even know. And we appreciate all your support, and thank you guys.